Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
That is right. Episode 25. If you can believe that. 25 episodes of this doesn't feel like we've done it. Gonna be completely honest. But we appreciate that you guys have stuck with us for this long. I think 25 is the most amount of things we've done on YouTube this year so far. Arguably. We've started some other stuff and it hasn't. We have not made 25 of those things.
We've barely done 3 of things.
Yeah, that's true. Slack for slackers. So
that's why I said 3.
Yeah. But we do have a lot of cool Yu-Gi-Oh stuff this week. There's like lots of small little stories, I would say. Nothing super major, just things to go over. What's like top of mind? Age of Overlord? There was a sneak peek.
Top of mind with a GX thing. No, a 5Ds thing.
Was it? I thought that was just a saying.
Was it Overmind? Anyway, what happened this week?
Yeah, Age of Overlord. The sneak peek was last weekend at least. So did not get to go to that. It's unfortunate. But yeah, so I mean, you know, we kind of knew what's in the set and what the cards were. Hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on a box or two maybe this week. What are you thinking?
I mean, I definitely want to pick up some Age of Overlord just because as usual, I like a lot of the kind of common and rare cards in this set. It's a lot of like one-offy stuff, things that can fit into different decks. But even some of the more like prominent, more meta-relevant cards are kind of cool in that set. The Diabell Star stuff, the Snake Eye stuff. I don't know why that's like one archetype, but with 2 different archetype names.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Fallen of Albaz and how like it was just called Fallen of Albaz, but then like there's kind of different archetypes and it ties into the archetypes.
Which they better make good on that with this, and there better be a reason for it. Otherwise, it's kind of annoying. But I do like those cards. So I just think Age of Overlord's a great set. It's our first great set of the year.
Yeah, probably so. It's very refreshing.
It's October, but still.
Well, it's funny because I guess it's the last mainline set of the year as well.
Oh yeah, we don't fit one in.
Yeah, Phantom Nightmare is not until like January, February, something like that. Which, speaking of that, I mean, I guess that's where a lot of the news itself has kind of transitioned to just more reveals from Phantom Nightmare.
I'm gonna go crazy on Phantom Nightmare.
Yeah, there's a few cool things in there.
I might buy a case or 2.
I think we mentioned the Gate Guardian thing last week, right?
Yeah.
So there's some other new ones. There's that new quick play spell for Visa Starfrost. Or it's not for Visa Starfrost.
It just has the Samsara Visas monster and Rykart. And he's kind of like extending a hand to Rykart as if to say like, you know, let's work together again. Let's get back into the fight.
It's a quick play spell. Let your opponent, like if your opponent gets rid of one of your monsters or whatever, you can conduct your battle phase twice. I don't know that it's really like a meta thing, but it's a cool thing. No.
If that showed up in the meta, that would be toxic. That would be so toxic if someone figured out a way to consistently pull off 2 battle phases.
Yeah, and it reminds me of like Valkyries. It reminds me of other gimmick things. Like I don't know how you're gonna really set this off like on your own. I guess you have to
be able to. Then again, Konami loves just making ways to like summon cards to your opponent's field, make your opponent activate effects. You know?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Also, Sebek's Blessing got a Link monster. So
you can't just say Sebek's Blessing, like people remember what that is.
Yeah, it's an old one. This old quick play spell where if one of your monsters inflicts battle damage to your opponent, then you gain that many life points.
And for some reason, there's a big old alligator on it. No idea why. There just is one.
Yeah, so now we have the Sorcerer guy. He's a Link too. And
is the Sorcerer an alligator? I don't remember the card artwork.
The Sorcerer, here, I got it right here, is... I almost think he's like wearing the alligator's skin.
Ooh.
Like, well, you know, people wear like crocodile skin or whatever.
Ugh.
I mean, I don't, but yeah. So it's kind of got a similar effect where if it or one of your other monsters inflicts damage, you can gain those life points. Then, if either player gains life points, you can make the other player take damage. So,
I have no idea what you're gonna do with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems extremely niche and extremely like
Trick Stars.
The robot. But I mean, Trick Stars inflict damage. So this thing is trying to have you like gain it so that you can then inflict it. But they wouldn't be able to make you gain it.
Yeah, I don't know how. See, I don't like cards like that because, well, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the card. I think it's a very true Yu-Gi-Oh card. But for today's game, a card that its whole effect, it just doesn't happen unless some other thing happens that it doesn't enable.
Yeah, those are typically hard to really do much with.
In the way Yu-Gi-Oh's played right now, you want to set that card up, you will win or lose the game before that happens.
Yeah, there's also EMP Gremmeowd. It's got IP Masquerena. That's why everyone's been freaking out about this.
The little grenade. Like Grenade Meow, something like that.
Yeah, it can summon itself if there's a Link monster, and then whenever a Link monster goes to the grave or gets banished, you can pop or bounce a card in the field of the hand. So it's kind of just really will probably end up just being another like Cyberse mechanic thing.
Well, I don't think it has to. It's not even limited to Cyberse, right? I mean...
Yeah, any deck could use it. If you use Link monsters, it's actually a pretty solid thing.
It's a generic card. I mean, if the EMP... if not EMP... If the... what
are they called? The IP?
If IP and SP wasn't already kind of a broken little combo that people were doing, you add this to that. Now you're going to... You get to remove 3 cards for that play instead of just 2, which was already... people are already going crazy because we used to make Nightmare Unicorn and get rid of 1.
Yeah. People have been really talking about how that new SP card is supposed to be like the new Nightmare Unicorn thing.
SP, does it bounces the cards?
I think it banishes.
Whew.
Yeah, I think it banishes the cards. I have not read its specific effect like recently, but yeah, it's really good.
Like this little guy could be just like maybe the first generic extender that like that sees wide play in a while.
Probably so. And then also, I mean, like it's within a Cyberse deck, it's actually going to be kind of insane. Easy summon requirement, Cyberse typing, bouncing. It's like good for, I guess, breaking boards. Like if you go second, that would be because like you can use it, like link it off, and then bounce a card, and then have like SP like banish cards. It'd just be really great for like kind of working through a board. Is what comes to mind for me at least.
Like I hope that it's just a common card when it releases. It has common card energy.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It seems so generic and possibly just useful in so many scenarios.
Maybe a super rare.
It might get bumped up a few rarity spots.
It seems like it reminds me of that card like Link Apple.
Oh no, okay, it's not Link Apple.
I mean, it looks like
Link Apple's way more niche, like more specific.
I see Link Apple get played sometimes,
but it's only in like combo decks.
But yeah, that's probably where this will be too.
I mean, but it only requires a Link 2. I mean, you can play all decks play Link 2s.
Yeah, well, there's other cards too. There's this Winged Karibo level 6 and Shining Star Dragon, both revealed as part of the OCG Quarter Century Duelist box. They're cards.
I remember I looked at them. I immediately appreciated the fact that the Karibo looked like a flame wingman, and I closed the tab because Karibo cards are bad.
Yeah, well, apparently it's treated as an elemental hero and a favorite card, so I think that there's supposed to be some synergies there. You can summon it pretty easily.
Whoa. What do you mean it's treated as an
elemental hero? It says, this card is always treated as an elemental hero and favorite card. And you summon it by banishing an elemental hero, fusion monster, or winged Karibo from hand, field, or grave. And then when an opponent's monster declares an attack or activates a monster effect on the field, you contribute this card, destroy that monster, and inflict damage to your opponent equal to a traditional attack. Are you seeing something there?
So that card is searchable in multiple ways.
Yeah.
It gets to the field really easily because you can just banish a hero from your grave. That's like nothing.
I like how you're like learning in real time. Like 30 seconds ago, you're like, yeah, I forgot about this card. It's a Karibo. It sucks.
But it's crazy. Because it's a hero, that means you can use it for those generic hero fusion monsters.
That's true, actually.
Or even
it can
a
be
Link
material.
monster because it's a hero monster. So
yeah. And it can summon itself from your hand or your graveyard. So like if you use it as fusion material or something, it still can also just come out again.
Banished? Does it get banished when it like leaves the field after using that effect? Or
no. It can just keep doing this.
I completely retract my statement.
Yeah, Alec is learning in real time.
I like this card.
There's also Shining Star Dragon, which is it's sort of a Crimson Dragon thing. It's a hand trap of sorts. So during your opponent's main phase, if it's in your hand, you can target a Dragon Synchro in your grave, summon this, summon the Dragon Synchro, its effects are negated, and then immediately Synchro summon. So because it's level 4, my assumption is that it's meant to just make a Crimson Dragon in your opponent's turn.
Right, because most of the Sign Dragons are level 8. So you
And then the dragon that you summon can't be destroyed by battle. So since you're doing it in your opponent's turn, kind of makes sense.
Is Crimson Dragon's effect a quick effect?
I would not know. I think I have one actually conveniently right here, though. So I can read it.
This card gives me flashbacks to Stardust combos. I've had to run through so many of those lately.
Yeah, I mean, it could... Yeah, its effect's a quick effect. So.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
So you get a spell or trap, you get a little quick effect.
Now, what's important to remember with this card and with Crimson Dragon is these cards this card by itself doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a synchro monster in your graveyard, so you have to be like your turn has passed, you've done some type of combos, you've got something on field. Crimson Dragon doesn't actually net you any new monsters. It trades out Signer Dragons for other dragons. So
it does ask for a bit to like be in play. Like this is definitely more of like anime deck energy, not exactly like...
Is it limited in what it can summon, or can it just synchro summon?
It just says you just synchro summon one dragon synchro using this card you control. So in theory, you could actually...
There's probably a way to break
You could get a Signer Dragon and not use it as material. You could use this and synchro summon something else that's on your field.
And it says it can just get any dragon synchro from your grave?
Any dragon synchro monster.
There's probably
some BS.
There's probably something to do with running Rose Dragon, because whenever I look at like synchro combos that are more like Signer-ish, Ruddy Rose Dragon is like the one. So there's probably something there.
Yeah, I feel like there's synergies, and I am not big-brained enough to find them.
You played Rose Dragons.
I tried to play Rose Dragons.
I wanted to build Rose Dragons, but then Konami took forever to print the Rose cards I wanted.
Yeah, they took their time with that. I hate when Konami does that, where like it's the Rose Dragons were printed in like you get like a new Rose Dragon like a year, it felt like, because there's like White Rose, Red Rose,
there's Blue Rose, which came out before White
Blue Rose was like the very first one, but that was like not even really related to the archetype. But then there's Rocks Rose.
Rocks Rose.
So those are like the three, and they came out at different times, and one was like a V-Jump card, and it just made it where like building the deck felt like waiting for Christmas like twice.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
And Crystal Rose is not a Rose card, or not that kind of Rose card.
And then one of them's like limited now. Rocks Rose, I believe.
Oh yeah, one of them is limited.
Yeah, Red Rose or Rock Rose. One of them is like limited to one. So it's kind of funny because like the Rose Dragon deck alone is not by any means,
It'd always be a funky deck because they're dragons, but they work with plants, and the two things don't really mix.
Yeah, like, I mean not naturally. I think it just kind of ended up being like a pile deck / Dragon Link.
But that Black Garden stuff you can do with the Rose Maiden is fun.
So another little interesting piece of news was that New York Comic-Con happened this past weekend.
I wanted to go.
Yeah, I wanted to go as well. We were not able to, unfortunately. But there was some Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of news there of sorts, because Konami was there and they had their booth. And so they'll always have these products on display of like upcoming stuff. And so I remember the previous weekend was how the Fire King structure deck got like leaked, sort of the deck list of it.
Oh yeah, we saw more of that too recently.
Yeah, that was at like that toy fair that was the weekend before, I want to say. So people leaked that. Well, here we got to see a little bit of Battles of Legend Chapter 1, which is this. Do you remember how they did what was the other Chapter 1 they did?
The Legendary Duelist one?
Yeah, they've done the Legendary Duelist chapters like 1, 2, and 3. They also did Dual Terminal Chapter 1. It was like the beginning of last year, I want to say.
So this is now going to be a trend of reprinting the kind of side sets?
Yeah, so basically all these side sets that they've just done for like several iterations, I guess they eventually will just be like, okay, here's a Chapter 1. And we'll just take a lot of the crucial cards from old iterations of that set and put them into a new set and then release it and watch as it probably isn't the most popular thing, but like...
Are they going to release any new cards in these sets?
Don't know. The general summary says it brings an encore performance for many of the most popular cards from Battles of Legend: Light's Revenge, Relentless Revenge, Hero's Revenge, and Armageddon, plus related cards from other past releases. They don't name what.
And then fit some stuff in there is what I hear.
Another crack at the unearthly astral language version of number 39 Utopia.
Now that's a card I want in my collection.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool one. So it sounds like there's probably not going to really be anything new here, though. Just
That's not a good sign, only because I think Battles of Legend got worse. Like as
over time.
every new one was a little bit worse than the last one, and that's not to say like they were all bad. I actually really liked the first couple Battles of Legend sets. It's just over time,
it was a downwards trend.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what went wrong. I mean, I feel like was Minerva in the very first one.
That might have been the very first one.
I remember Minerva was a really big deal in one
Minerva
of them.
Was a big deal.
Because that was like its first time being reprinted outside of like the prize card thing. So that was a pretty big deal. They typically the Battles of Legend sets would always
give me the names again. I'm trying to remember them all properly.
It's Light's Revenge, which was the first one.
Yeah, that was definitely the first.
Relentless Revenge.
Relentless Revenge. Is it Heroes Revenge next?
Then Heroes Revenge, and then Armageddon.
Oh,
so I know that the Chaos Emperor Dragon Armageddon like retrain came in one of them.
That was
that in Armageddon?
Armageddon.
Yeah, that came out in one of them alongside the other dragon retrains, like Armed Dragon of Dark.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
That whole that whole thing. Like
Light's Revenge was good.
Like most of them tend to be pretty good sets. It's just like they're more so anime sets, and I think people forget that because like really it's just importing weird different anime cards.
Yeah.
What it seems like they've been sort of basically they were Animation Chronicle from the OCG. They would do Animation Chronicle and like kind of turn it into Battles of Legend. It seems now though that they have changed that to Maze of Memories, and like next year we're getting a new Maze of Memories set called like Mix of Memories or something. Like it's a new.
I love the product design, or not the product design. It's kind of the marketing,
like the structure of it.
The marketing structure of products right now. It's very our main series sets are very obvious. They have a certain naming convention that is used. They have a certain look. I get it, but we have multiple side set series. And it's not readily apparent what the like theming is. Like what separates a Maze of Memories from a Battles of Legend? What separates that from like I don't quite understand it.
So my understanding with like the Yu-Gi-Oh thing is that they basically have like slots for products. So there's always like a spring reprint set and like a fall reprint set typically. And there's also always like the Legendary Duelist thing, and there's like the what are the side sets like Grand Creators and like those sorts of things, plus the 4 main sets, and like they kind of just seem to be slotted in throughout the year. But lately they've been kind of just jumbling it all up a little bit. Like my impression of this is that Battles of Legend is probably just going to be ending. Like this is probably the last Battles of Legend. Like this is a reprint of the previous ones, and they're probably not going to be doing it anymore because it looks like Maze of Memories is what.
It would be weird to do these kind of reprints of Battles of Legend and then make a new Battles of Legend after.
Yeah, it'd be a little strange. But I mean, I guess they technically kind of did that with Legendary Duelists because they did like Chapter 1, 2, and 3, but they're still doing new Legendary Duelist sets. So
you know what? Someone's actually told me something interesting recently, and I've been told this before, so it's not that surprising. Was they actually really like those types of sets? As a casual Yu-Gi-Oh enjoyer, they could buy those. They would get a diverse amount of cards, and then they get a little die. And they felt like that's more rewarding as a casual Yu-Gi-Oh player than trying to buy like actual like packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because you buy the packs, they're much more limited in what you can get. And in order to actually like build off of what you pull in a main series set, you're gonna have to invest a little bit of money, and there's no extra like anything attached to that.
Well, so speaking of the dice, actually, we did get a preview of the dice. There's Judgment Dragon. I'm just gonna kind of show you the picture. I'll try to remember to put it on the podcast. There's Judgment Dragon, Sniper Dragon,
Want it?
Elemental Hero Stratos.
Need it.
What looks like Blackluster Soldier.
Need it.
That's number.
That's Big
whatever
Eye.
Big Eye. Number 11 Big Eye. I don't know what this middle card is.
That looks like Gabumon.
Yeah, it does. Look like it's got a little horn. I don't know which one that is.
I'm not sure what that one is.
But yeah, so that's the dice. So I have mixed opinions on that thought that you've mentioned. I think the dice are a good call. They do seem like they kind of just make these feel a little more fun to buy. I think it's like a bit of a collection product because there's like 6 different types of dice.
Like
usually they hide a 7th one that they don't like advertise, and it's like the rare one.
They've already done Dark Magician Girl. I'm not sure. what they're gonna do here.
I mean,
Is there a theme? Do you see a theme in this?
well, it's Battles of Legend Chapter 1, so I think they just took like an iconic card from each. Because like I remember Stratos came in like Hero's Revenge, was like a reprint.
Right.
Cyber Dragon was in one of them. Judgment Dragon got like its retrain in one of
Is
them.
that Judgment Dragon at the bottom?
Yeah, well, at the bottom, I know what this monster
Oh no,
is.
it's
Like
Judgment Dragon up here.
yeah, Judgment Dragon's at the top. I don't know what this little blue monster is. I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah, I mean, I think that I've never liked buying these because I find that the sets tend to be large and it's hard to get like a consistent set of things. But because they are so anime inspired, I see why a casual kind of just player might find more fun in it because it's just such a mix.
Right.
Whereas like a mainline set, like let's take Age of Overlord. I mean, there's like 4 archetypes, right? Like if you're into Horus, good. If you're not, then eh. If you are into
it, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, you might have to shell out. Might be a pricier one. There's TG. There's like Diabellstar / Snake Eye. And like I think that's it. There's like one other archetype that's like kind of majorly in there. But if you don't like that, like those archetypes or whatever, it might be harder to feel like you're getting.
And those archetypes, the cards are new, they're expensive, and they're hard to pull. So you're not just gonna, you can't pull a Snake Eyes or Diabellstar deck. You're not gonna pull a Horus deck.
Yeah.
With the Battles of Legends stuff, while yeah they're diverse, and you're probably not pulling the deck out of the package, but getting the rest of the cards is super easy because nobody wants it.
Yeah, that's true. I do think with these Battles of Legend things, they typically don't have super expensive cards. I mean, there might be like the one sort of chase thing, but
just to get the rest of us to buy it.
Yeah, but yeah, usually there isn't too much to speak of. So yeah, that was basically what was at New York Comic Con. I think there was also sort of we got a little bit of a look at the 2-player starter deck. There's like a page out of the comic book.
I saw that. I was a little disappointed. I won't lie to you.
Disappointed? What do you mean?
It was described as a comic book to follow along to
like learn how to play
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Like a scripted duel.
I was kind of an idiot, and I had I read a lot of comic books and I read a lot of manga, and so I had like
higher
a manga in my mind.
You thought they were gonna do a manga. So for those of you, okay, wait, just to fill in like audio listeners and all that stuff. So yeah, the 2-player starter deck is coming out next year. It's supposed to come out this year, got delayed. And it's supposed to come with like
it was supposed to come out next week.
That's true, actually, yeah. And it got delayed, and it was one of the big selling points was that it was going to have the scripted duel with what they called like a comic book that you could follow along with. And what we saw was not exactly a comic book. How would you describe it?
It's a comic book in the loosest term. Imagine you're in middle school and you just learned how to use what was it called? Microsoft
Word?
Not Word, the other one. The one that you could use to make
Publisher?
PowerPoint?
Oh yeah, Publisher.
You just learn how to use Publisher and you want to make your own comic. That's what it looked like, but with
it's got like Vagabond
Duel
characters.
Links assets.
Yeah, those Duel Links generic characters, the Vagabond or whatever, like the faceless guy with the blue cap, faceless guy with a red cap. I mean, I think as long as it does its job of teaching, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's fine. I just
thought you wanted more.
I think of OCG Structures, that manga series, and I was.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting is they put so much more effort into that, but it feels like this is strictly just to like complete its task of telling you everything about the game.
Well, I think OCG Structures is made in Japan, in the OCG, and this is made in the West in the TCG.
Yeah, it's much more like.
That's what you get.
Oh yeah, OCG Structures is the Japanese sort of Yu-Gi-Oh side manga thing that just has where like there's characters who play modern day decks.
Mm-hmm. It updates you around the time when a new product releases in the OCG, and the characters will play with new decks from those sets, and it's actually really well made.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm not going to shade this product too much. I was under the wrong impression here.
I mean, I'm still excited for said product. So
it has Zeus in it.
It's got Zeus, got the Manatium guy, Prime Heart.
I'm over here thinking about it's got a reprint of Zeus.
I mean, there's got to be something decent in it. I'm interested in just seeing what's like. You what? You talking about the like Zeus?
Zeus.
It'll probably still be ultra rare.
Oh, I hope so.
I would assume. I think Zeus looks a little too cool to be like
If
a
I
common.
ever see a common Zeus, I might not be
That
okay.
reminds me, have we heard any more about that Zeus model kit?
No. Yeah, I have kept up. I've been paying attention. So right now, we just know that it is coming, and I don't even know if. I think we know MSRP, but that's it.
Okay, well.
I don't remember it being very expensive.
Here's another interesting little Yu-Gi-Oh story. This is actually from a couple of weeks ago, and we just didn't really cover it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush confirmed by Konami Cross Media. Now, this is like a weird one because basically, Mark Kirk of Konami Cross Media New York confirms that his company has multiple Yu-Gi-Oh! Series to offer, including the new entry Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Mr. Kirk explains that the audience for the franchise has never been stronger, and the new entry includes new monsters and new powerful spells, and that this is the 25th anniversary of the trading card game.
Time out.
Yeah. If you're confused, I am too, because the way this has been reported, and I checked multiple outlets that were like reporting on this, they all report it in just the same way, which is that 4K Media just released a statement saying we have, and I'm literally like using that word in the only way that we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush.
But even before that, I'm stuck on I think the first sentence you said. Mm-hmm. What do they mean? They have multiple
Yu-Gi-Oh! Series to offer.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Series.
Well, so my understanding of that is just that they just mean they have multiple Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes.
What else is there?
Like the other animes.
Oh, the older anime.
Yeah, like Vrains and Arc. For those who don't know, 4K Media, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Konami Cross Media New York, which I think used to be called 4K Media.
That's
but like,
the ones that copyright strike it.
Yeah, I have a funny story about that. I'm going to say it actually here in a sec. But they're like not the Konami that handles anything with the card game. They just handle like anime and like merchandising stuff is my kind of
Though I think they were involved with like Shonen Jump promos at one point.
I think that, yeah. And so they, I guess, would be the people to announce that there's like a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. So I think what this means is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush is getting a dub.
I mean, that's fire. I hear good things about that.
So
anime.
I don't know, who all the voice actors and stuff will be or when it will be.
No, it won't be me.
Is it going to be on TV, I wonder? I hope so. Because Sevens was on Cartoon Network, right? I know Seven's got a slot on something. Okay. Well,
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know. But I know it got dubbed and it like is on TV, so kids can see it.
If Go Rush gets greenlit for a dub, I will start and finish the Sevens dub.
Okay.
I will do it.
It sounds like from this that it's getting a dub.
Because that doesn't sound like a green light to me, though. That just sounds
sounds like they're just saying like it exists.
It's very possible.
Maybe what they really need to be doing is like telling us when they're going to release like this Rush duel, like physically. Because that's what everybody seems
physically.
to want.
Your phone is a physical object.
You can physically
and you can download DualX to play Rush duels.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a funny story about Mark Kirk of Konami Cross Media New York. Since Alec brought it up, I suppose I'll share it with you guys. It's there's a lot to unpack here, but I think you guys are all old enough to hear it. So, Mark Kirk, I guess, is like head of Konami Cross Media New York, or their spokesperson, or
we heard from him.
Whatever. The point is, like a long time ago, like in 2014 or something.
That was young Paul.
2014, 2015, I got a copyright strike on a random YouTube video that we had done. It might have been like a Let's Play episode of one of those old games or something. I got a copyright strike from like Konami Cross Media, and so the email address that it told me that I could contact, I was like Konami Cross whatever at something.com, and so like I emailed them. And this guy, Mark Kirk, responded. And he was super nice, by the way. And he was just like, yeah, our system flagged this. And he told me all of this long list of like rules and stipulations for like if you want to feature Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime episodes and YouTube videos. And it was basically like you can't feature more than like 2 minutes and 40 seconds worth of like
of any one
episode or something, and or else that'll like flag its system. And he got the copyright strike removed. It was cool. It was one of those like panicky moments because like if you get a copyright strike on YouTube, it's a pretty big deal because like 3 strikes and your channel's automatically gone.
That's why they're strikes.
So and obviously like YouTube, they take them pretty seriously. So like people can't do like they've been bad actors in the past who've done like fraudulent strikes. Those usually get the point is, it's like it was a kind of crazy thing. But Mark Kirk is I've actually spoken to this guy who says that they have Go Rush.
I remember this. I remember this time because we were all younger, dumber, and more. We had no understanding really of how Yu-Gi-Oh worked and ownership and whatnot.
Yeah,
I remember we talked about this and we are like, so Konami Cross Media, they're the guys that like that are in charge of the anime. It's not like Konami Digital.
Yeah,
and when you talk to Konami Cross Media, it's not the same thing as talking to Konami Digital.
So everybody assumes
it's different things.
That's actually a whole kind of almost tangent. Really, is just like so many players are unaware that Konami, like the Konami that's making the latest set or whatever, really has nothing to do with like. Give me a new episode. Finish dubbing Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's last season, or you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the GX
or like
season?
the GX last season, and people will say like stuff like this, and I'll see them on like social media posts under the official Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG account, being like, bring back make you finish for the 5D's dub, because like the English dub didn't have like the last half of the last season, something like that. And people are just like yelling about this stuff, or like reboot Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Duelist Kingdom. It's like Konami like literally can't do that. That's not even like their jurisdiction.
Like, I mean, there's a reason why there's 2 different YouTube channels for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, there's like Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's like Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. And honestly, that's why they've added so much of that stuff onto the cards. Like the little copyright section, it's like Copyright Studio Dice, which was like is Kazuki Takahashi's like studio. I don't know like the current status of it, but like
Studio Dice,
TV Tokyo, Shueisha, and Konami. And so like all of them kind of just own different parts of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pie.
Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise is a pie. They all have different parts of it. And I don't think anyone's actually in charge of like the entirety of it.
Yeah, I know like there's my suspicion is that I think Shueisha gets like final say in most things, but like different ones just control different things. And I think that's probably why so little is able to radically change with Yu-Gi-Oh! Quickly. Like they can't like kind of just up and make a new like movie or like change something drastic with the way the card game's marketed or something, because like all of these different parties have to probably agree on it, and like someone's probably got to gripe about it.
If there was someone actually in charge of the whole, they could like whip Yu-Gi-Oh! Into shape if someone actually had that ability. But I just feel like right now no one has that.
Everyone's
power.
kind of got a little bit.
It's more democratic.
Well, when you say whip Yu-Gi-Oh! Into shape, that suggests that there's something wrong.
There's nothing wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! Except if you look at any other franchise, and then you're like, oh.
I mean, I do sometimes get the impression that like Yu-Gi-Oh's not always on the same like page. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes like the animes are airing at different times than when like their accompanying products are coming out. Like I remember that kind of started around like Arc 5 and like where the anime products were sort of desynchronized with the releases, and then Vrains never got a dub, but it was still getting like
first time I think I noticed like a desynchronization was Zexal. I want to say, I want to say we got the Xyz Monster started showing up before the Zexal anime aired.
Well, I think Zexal was the last one that was on time.
You think it was synced?
I think it was because I remember people would talk a lot about it.
To be fair, I didn't actually watch Zexal when it released, so I might be off. But I thought it was a decent.
I think it was like the last time that it was more or less on sync. But I just remember Arc 5 distinctly being like,
Arc 5 was
just kind of it aired at a different time. So yeah, I mean, I know there's like a lot going on in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Office room.
But, office rooms?
Yeah, the mini office rooms and Skype calls or something. I don't know. But
we're talking about some Skype. Nobody uses that anymore.
Yeah, I accidentally said Skype call once to somebody like a couple weeks back. I was like, yeah, like we can just hop on a Skype call. I was like, oh my God, how old am I?
It's like, hey, you know what? Why don't you send me your AOL Instant Messenger while you're at it? I'll add you on my MySpace.
Listen, dude, people say you're an old head if you talk about Skype, but like Skype walked so Discord could run.
Wow.
Like seriously, I mean, we would not have a Discord if it wasn't for...
We wouldn't have Italian Tifa memes if it wasn't for Discord. What is Skype giving us?
Was the Italian Tifa thing from a Discord call?
I think it was a Discord call.
I thought it was a Zoom thing.
Wait, was it a Zoom?
I mean, probably.
Oh, it probably was a Zoom, huh?
Whatever happened to Zoom? You don't hear about that too much anymore.
I guess the pandemic ended, so Zoom ended.
Yeah, Zoom probably ended. I hear that. I mean, I think that like basically Microsoft Teams and like Google Hangouts or Google Meet or whatever started adding more features and like caught up because Zoom popped off in pandemic.
Right. A lot of things did.
I know it's like a huge tangent, but I just
like though it is weird how many things started and have now kind of disappeared since the pandemic.
Card game boom.
Like
a lot of little companies, like because I mean Zoom literally just it's okay. This is such a tangent, but this is interesting because it's like, where did Zoom really come from? Like, because if you think about it, right? So pandemic hits, everyone's kind of got to stay home. Kids can't go to school. You can't go to work. Companies kind of have to like try to do all their stuff remote. But I mean, like Discord and stuff was already around, and like Microsoft, I want to say like it still had like there was like still other ways to video chat. Like, why did Zoom suddenly?
Zoom got social media buzz. It became kind of a fad.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, I mean, they marketed aggressively and quickly. They got taken into the mainstream. When your parents start talking about things, you know it's mainstream because they don't know what the internet is. Like, so they shot up really fast, and now we don't really need it anymore.
Anywho, well, we've got a final Yu-Gi-Oh story.
Oh,
Maybe you've heard about this one. Fighting game pros Justin Wong and Vicious face off in Yu-Gi-Oh as part of new official deck flexing series. This comes to us from Event Hubs.
Paul, we can't talk about that. What are you doing?
Yeah, so if you grew up in the early to mid 2000s or even beyond and ended up getting into fighting games, there's a pretty strong chance you followed Yu-Gi-Oh at some point too. Two of the biggest names in fighting games, with multi-game EVO champion Justin Wong and top commentator Jeremy Vicious Lopez, were recently featured on the official Yu-Gi-Oh channel to compete against each other in a new Master Duel deck flexing series with the help of Yu-Gi-Tubers Team APS. Never heard of those guys. So, yeah. Before,
what are you reading?
This is an article from Event
Someone
Hubs.
wrote about this?
Yeah, someone wrote about this.
Hey, let me see.
I mean, it's just I have it on like.
They put my name in there? Is my name in there?
No.
Wow.
It just says Team APS. Yeah, so for those of you guys that know, yes, the deck flexing series, the first episode went up last week, and there's a new episode coming out tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? I guess for them.
Yeah, for when you guys are watching this, it'll be tomorrow.
Okay. So
Friday.
for us, it's 2 days from now. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Yeah, but this episode was Jay Wong and Vicious. The theme was
it was just classic decks.
Duels, classic decks.
Yeah, without spoiling anything, I will say watch it if you haven't. It was good. Probably my favorite episode. I think it had the most like it was the very classic back and forthy mind games.
At the time, I believe we were fresh off of Rare Hunters.
Yeah.
And so getting to see classic Yu-Gi-Oh being played, it felt really good. And let me just say, Jay Wong and Vicious played an epic game.
Yeah, very good game of Yu-Gi-Oh, I have to say. So yeah, just watch it. And of course, watch this week's episode. It's an anime-themed one with two VTubers, in fact. So. It
was Rosemi Lovelock.
Yeah, and Doppio Dropside.
That's it. Doppio.
I forget. I think it's Doppio Dropside.
Look, Dropside, y'all. Just check them out.
It's going to be a good episode.
They're on YouTube. Check them out. I think they're both Niji Sanji VTubers.
Yeah, Niji Sanji.
Sounds about right.
I believe. Important part to mention. So, yeah, I didn't know that about like VTubers. They're all kind of just, not all, but like many of the largest ones are like basically kind of under corporate like groups, labels.
Yeah, they in a sense they're labels. Yeah, there are large VTuber agencies like V Shoujo, Niji Sanji. There's another one that I'm forgetting about, but yeah, and then they're separated by region. So you'll have like Niji Sanji JP for Japanese and Niji Sanji EN for English. Just so you know, like what you're looking at and what you can expect language wise. Even though I've noticed a lot of VTubers seem to be able to speak both languages.
I think that you would probably need to be like just to have the larger appeal, like so you can kind of
does help
speak
to have that like the cross promotion going.
Speak to like multiple audiences and stuff.
Because then you can collab with the Japanese VTubers and still collab with the English VTubers. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, the collabs are key. I will say this: I'm very impressed with their ability to like really just. They're very professional. They really stay in character. I know, like that's crazy to me that because I mean I can barely stay in character for like 20 minutes of recording like a YouTube video. So
I'm a different character every time the camera turns on.
I mean, I don't know if I'd really even say I'm like a character, but like, or not even like. Well, listen. The point is, watch deck flexing. All right.
Yeah, just give it a try.
I didn't know that there would be sites like covering it though. This is cool that I saw an article about it. So.
Now, how long is an episode of deck flexing? I don't.
It's like 15-ish minutes.
Yeah, 15-ish minutes, guys. You don't tell me you don't have 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I think that's all the Yu-Gi-Oh news, like majorly for the week. I would say
that's fair. Major's a bit of a stretch, but yeah.
Yeah, the closest that we'll get to major. It's like a slower Yu-Gi-Oh news week. By next week, we will have gotten our hands on Age of Overlord, so you can expect making an opening video. I thought about maybe trying to do like a sealed duel or something this week with it. Not really sure about that.
I mean, perhaps. I know nothing else. I'm definitely buying an opening. I do like that set a lot.
Yeah, I got to buy.
Not as much as Phantom Nightmare though. Anyway,
that will be fun.
I do have a little bit of card game stuff on here.
I have a couple card game stories. Let's get it.
I'll start. So, Bandai's releasing special live-action One Piece card game art. So there's a new One Piece binder. Paul, you've seen I do have a promotional One Piece binder, but they're releasing one for the live-action show.
Oh, it's got the live-action characters. Mm-hmm. Cool, okay.
And they have cards for each of them as well. There's a Luffy leader card, then there's a Luffy character card, then there's Zolo, Nami, Usopp, Sanji. Wait, who is this? I can't tell. Is that Mihawk? I think it's Mihawk, Arlong, and Shanks.
Okay. Cool. I mean, so I watched the One Piece live action. We talked about it, not so much on this podcast, but,
we mentioned a couple
just how much we do like it. I think it turned out great. I honestly went into it not knowing what to expect. Left very happy with it.
At multiple times on record, I have made myself out to be quite the big One Piece hater. But at one point, I was a One Piece fan, and it was during the East Blue arc, which is what the live action covered, and it kind of made me a fan of One Piece again. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think that they. I mean, I have not read the One Piece manga or watched the anime. I
have the first volume. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I know Chris would be very upset with me for saying that, but I haven't. But it made me I don't want to say like a lover of One Piece. I guess I have to watch more to know, but like. I just enjoyed it. I think that the live action thing came together well. It felt really unique. It was cool to hear that all the actors were like doing their own stunts and stuff. That was very cool. So I don't know.
And now they're getting cards.
Yeah, I know they've been also like confirmed for another season. I didn't think that they would show the card, like make them into like, I guess the One Piece TCG because they, like
if it should be separate, like how Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Right.
And that's what gets me onto the part that upsets me.
Oh.
How did the One Piece card game get a live action and then make live action cards for their card game when Yu-Gi-Oh's existed for just as long as One Piece? It's a card game at its core and always has been. But we don't have.
I guess someone might argue. No, in the early manga, they played different death games every.
We don't even talk about those.
So.
But they got a live action, and they got their live action put into cards, and Yu-Gi-Oh can't have a collab. Yu-Gi-Oh can't do anything with its cards.
It's so interesting to me, we just got off the topic of like Yu-Gi-Oh having like 50 billion different, stakes and parties involved. It feels like Yu-Gi-Oh's never quite able to move quickly on things. Things like this. So basically like, it feels like with Yu-Gi-Oh, when Konami does like the 25th anniversary, they kind of have to like wait before it starts because it's like, was the 25th anniversary this year? Is it, but then it like bleeds into next year. Like it's going to be the next two mainline sets, I think in next year are going to still be the 25th. So like, what is the 25th? And like, is it even technically the 25th? Because I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh started in 96, but I guess the card game started in 98. But then we're saying 25th here in North America. But truthfully, for us, it was 2002. So for the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG, this is like the 21st anniversary. And for the OCG, I guess it's like the 25th. It's just, it feels like it's so desynchronized. Whereas like the One Piece TCG seems like they're able to, like, the TCG is a different property for them than the One Piece manga, which is a different property than the One Piece Netflix adaptation.
Yep.
Plus they've got like their movies, plus they've got their video games. But the fact that they're able to kind of quickly pull it all together and be like, hey, we're going to feature these One Piece Netflix characters for a show that came out just a few weeks back. I mean, it's like a couple months now, but like, and like getting into the TCG, like it feels like they were all on the same page from like a very early point, and it shows.
And you have to plan these things out ahead of time, and they can kind of run behind schedule. I feel like the cards probably came out a bit later than they wanted them to, but Yu-Gi-Oh! They had to have planned their 25th anniversary event, probably like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago at least.
Yeah, you would hope.
And we get it, and it very much feels like a 25th anniversary that was planned 2 years ago. What was happening 2 years ago?
Yeah, like COVID.
Yeah, we were like fresh. We were coming out of the pandemic, and the card game space and reality was different at the time. Now the 25th anniversary hits, and we can all agree it's kind of hit.
Yeah, it's been a little meh.
But like, there was time between when this was planned and now where something could have been done to like jazz it up.
I listen, like I know people don't like it when we just get in here and like whine about Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm going to try to keep this quick. I think that this is an example.
We're not whining about the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. We're whining about the Yu-Gi-Oh! franchise. Yeah. It's a little different.
I think that One Piece, they keep it all together better. My
also owned by Shueisha.
That's true. They're all like Shueisha has like some influence in them all, so you think they could do a little better with Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, I've got another interesting trading card game story. Was there anything more about the One Piece?
No, that's it. Just had live action cards.
Cool. Well, here's something. So I can find it. Okay. So Wizards of the Coast introduces the Play Booster, which is going to replace draft and set boosters.
Oh.
So yeah, you can kind of guide me along here a little bit as I wade through what I think Magic the Gathering products sort of work like. Announced earlier today, this is October 16th when they publish this, announced earlier today by Wizards of the Coast, with a supporting article from Mark Rosewater, there will be a brand new booster variant that will change how competitive and casual players approach Magic in 2024, offering a merger of the draft and set booster called the Play Booster. So I know when we've done like Magic the Gathering content, you and Larry usually open the collector boosters and like what are they called? The set booster?
I forget which one we typically open. I think we do open the set booster.
Yeah. So set boosters debuted with Zendikar Rising in 2020, which offered a middle ground for players who didn't want to draft or buy draft boosters, but also didn't want to purchase a collector booster because they aren't a card collector. Set boosters allow players to open cards from blah, blah, blah. Okay. The problem is the set booster proved to be too popular as it offered moderate value for those who couldn't justify buying collector boosters, but also didn't see any value in buying draft. Just repeating the same thing. As a result, the draft booster became alienated by consumers due to the popularity of the set booster. So basically, cannibalization.
So a quick backstory. So the draft booster is actually their initial offering with Magic. At first, if you wanted to buy like a box of a set, you had to buy a draft booster. There was no other alternative. The set booster came about afterwards as a like I said, in 2020, it's the middle ground. If you just want to collect the cards, it has a different like ratio. It's not set up for drafting, so you can have a better time trying to pull cards that you want. Not necessarily for playability. And then collectors boosters are just high end collectors.
Yeah, that was always kind of weird that they had like those collector boosters. Like I remember realizing like, oh, that's like different than
milk that cash cow, you know.
So this is where the Play Booster, which will debut with Murders of Karlov Manor in February 24, comes in.
Is that the name of the set?
Yeah, Murders of Karlov Manor. This is from a TCG Player article.
That is metal.
The Lost Caverns of Ixalan and Ravnica Remastered will be the last two releases to incorporate either or both draft and set boosters before merging in the Play Booster. So, Play Boosters will be your go-to if you want to play draft, limited, or pre-releases of any Magic expansion.
Okay.
There are plenty of valid reasons from Wizards of the Coast with this shift in the evolution of Play Boosters. The key one being that set and draft boosters created inventory issues with retailers, and consumers weren't always confident in which product to buy based on their needs.
Fair.
Additionally, set boosters wouldn't make for a decent replacement for draft boosters in their current iteration due to only containing 12 cards per pack, with rarities and colors not being balanced for limited play. Furthermore, there was added frustration from retailers who weren't sure how much of which product to order based on a given Magic release, so by merging the best aspects of the draft and set booster, the play booster will hopefully offer a reasonable solution to this problem.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what aspect of the set booster is being incorporated here?
I don't play Magic. I don't know. All right, let's see. With the introduction of this play booster, there are a few changes that are worth noting when it comes to contents and how many cards you'll receive per pack. This might answer your question. With the play booster, there will be 14 cards per pack compared to the 12 or 15 as seen in the set and draft booster. So it's kind of a middle ground. Even though there's one less card in the play booster compared to a draft booster, Wizards of the Coast are confident this will not hinder limited play. So they have slots in each pack. Slots 1 through 6 are commons. Mm-hmm. Slot number 7 is the list/common.
Those are reprints.
Slot 8 through 10 are uncommons. Slot number 11 is a rare or a mythic rare. Slot number 12 is a basic land. Slot number 13 is a non-foil wild card. And slot number 14 is a foil wild card.
Okay. All right. I get it. I do get it.
So this is kind of interesting because while I know nothing about Magic the Gathering, so like I can't really, speak to whether this is going to be like good or bad for a Magic player. By the way, I would love to hear you guys' like takes on it if you play Magic and this is like big news to you. But I just think it's fascinating when like a card game introduces like a shake up in like how it is distributed.
I think Wizards is definitely trying to stay mobile in the card game space and keep their products moving competitively. Mm-hmm. They quickly noticed that there was some confusion with their boosters because as someone who got into it recently, I was also very confused. Like, okay, there's a collector's booster, a draft booster, and a set booster. Okay, I remember thinking, well, why would I want a draft booster? I'm not gonna draft.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. Whenever I would go to the card shop and see like a load of Magic cards on the shelf, I was always just very confused because people would be like, "Oh yeah, the new set came out," and I'd be like, "Okay, cool. Why is there like 3 different ones?" Like, because at first I didn't even see what it said at the bottom where it says like draft booster, set booster, collector box or whatever. Because I was just like, why are there like 3? Like it's weird. It's like imagine Age of Overlord has like a draftable version and like a regular version, and then I guess like a high-end version, and then you add that with like the fact that there's like different prices for each one, and I assume that draft boosters are really more so meant to be played at like the sneak peeks.
I mean,
and like early set kind
pre-release, sneak peeks, but limited formats in Magic are also quite popular.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like there's like a lot of confusion there.
It's a lot of confusion. I think it's very expensive because each of those packs have to be You can't even. I don't know necessarily if I don't think you can even have the same factory printing them all, just because of the chance of something going wrong can be quite high.
Yeah.
Since each pack is seeded completely differently from the last, the draft boosters are seeded much like our battle packs were, where it's very controlled because it's trying to have a
draftable experience.
Yeah, a draftable experience. So. But the thing is, rarity isn't taken into account to the same degree in those. So if you're just trying to like pull packs and like pull, I want to pull like some mythics. I want to, I want to collect the cards. Draft boosters aren't the best because they're weighted differently.
Right.
Now the set boosters are more like our traditional Yu-Gi-Oh packs. Since they're very like rarity. They're very rarity focused. So. Those are great when you want to just collect cards, but if you try and play sealed out of those, you'll quickly have unbalanced decks and a rough drafting situation.
I'm a fan of the simplification then. I mean, I know when I would go to card shops too, I always noticed the draft boosters didn't sell well. Like it seemed like there would always be like on this, I wouldn't see many people buy them.
I think it's because
I saw. Because I feel like if you buy it, you have to have a group.
Yes, there has to be like large buy-in.
Yeah, there's got to be like a group. Like either you and your friends are going to like take it and go home and draft with it or draft tonight at the shop or whatever. But I feel like just on average, it probably for a card shop, you might buy those draft boosters. And you have to really have events for them to work. Whereas set boosters and like collector's boosters, I think, were probably selling a little better. And like from the sounds of it, set boosters kind of power crept, or just not power crept, but like sales crept the draft boosters from the sounds of it.
And a lot of that is because of the card game boom. Card collecting got really big during the pandemic. So when like lots of new people would just show up to buy like Magic cards, they would ask like, okay, this is for drafting. I'm not doing that. This is set boosters for collecting. Okay, I'm getting that and the collector's boosters. They would ignore the draft boosters. Mm-hmm. So the same amount of people as normal were buying draft boosters, but then a lot more sales are coming from set boosters and collectors. So really they just kind of nix the draft and just kind of mix it all together.
So do you think all in all, like plus minus, like good, bad? Gotta be binary, only two choices.
Okay. Probably good for Wizards. I'm sure they're saving money with this.
I think good for card shops.
Yeah, good for card shops. It's easier to sell, like less products to have to try and sell.
Yeah, and keep it on the shelf.
And I mean, we'll have to see
what it means for players. Changes.
Especially the drafters. Lots of people love drafting Magic, and
they might be.
It might go a little awry.
I mean, it sounds to me like they're still trying to build in the draftable experience. So at least Wizards did consider that.
Like I'm very curious to see how that goes.
Like it's kind of crazy that Wizards has kept up it's kind of like vaguely related, the draftable format for this many years. Like every time they make a new set, even in 2023, 2020 up until 2024, like still making it draftable. Like Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of left, kind of compare everything to Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh left draft behind like I want to say 15 years ago now, just about, like where sets just simply are not draftable. The way that they work isn't like everything's kind of just new support for things, like halfway new support. You won't get staples. It's just harder to really do it.
Drafters ask a lot of you as a card game like manufacturer and maker, and even ask a lot of your R&D to create this draftable experience. But that's not the goal of releasing a new set. Your new set's
supposed to be like new, exciting, like kind of. Yeah, no, I take it back. I mean, they did do Battle Pack as late as like 2015-ish, 14, 15.
It is 2023.
Well, I said like 15 years ago. It was like 8 years ago then that the last draftable thing. Speed Duel's kind of revisiting that.
8 years ago, Paul. Mm-hmm. Still here. Oh my God.
Yeah. Just starting APS videos, I guess. What was I gonna say though? Yeah, I mean like Speed Duel's kind of revisiting the concept of draft.
I'm so old.
Like, but even Speed Duel's not exactly draftable because they're doing the boxes, but it's like sort of pre-made.
Which is a limited, it's a sealed format, so that's close. The Digimon TCG, their pre-releases are always like sealed draft and or not draft.
Do those work out pretty well?
They work out okay. They've had to do some finagling of their rule set and the seeding of their packs to try and make it more of a playable thing. Because out the gate, they were like, okay, our pre-releases are sealed, so just crack open some packs and play a sealed tournament. And then we were cracking open the packs. This all happened in real time for pretty much every Digimon player. We're cracking open our packs and we're like, okay, so I got 2 Digi-Eggs. I got 2 of them.
Yeah, so you gotta really be like fine-tune those ratios of a pack to guarantee that people get enough of each type of card to play with.
Or some poor souls. It's like, okay, so I have like 6 rookies, which are the base levels that you have to level up from.
Or you don't have enough, then you're just not able to like make a working deck.
I've played pre-releases. This is an early Digimon. It's much better now. I've played pre-releases with just 2 mega level Digimon.
Yeah. See, I think like Yu-Gi-Oh could do it. It's just it would take, I guess, a set of resources, like because there has to, it's like you said. I mean, there have to be like people who are basically in like R&Ding, right? Like a new draft set to coincide with the new set. So that's why I'm so impressed that Magic has been able to do like 3 basically releases for every major release.
It's
like that's just wild.
It is impressive. I had an idea though. There is one way Yu-Gi-Oh could have draft, but it might upset Yu-Gi-Oh players, like the current ones. You make kind of BS cards. They're not bad on paper, they're very simple, stapley cards, but low power that can help fill in the gaps in deck building. Because if you and I drafted Age of Overlord right now, there'd be all kinds of issues, right?
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't have great spell and trap removal. We probably wouldn't have very synergistic cards at all. So you just make simple stuff like you retrain MST, and the card just
And you kind of continue
does
to release
MST.
it.
Like
I don't think people would hate that, right?
they just wouldn't have any role in the meta game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
True, but I mean, maybe counter argument. That's how sets kind of already are.
That's true. We have a lot of pack filler.
Yeah, a lot of times sets like maybe a total of like 10 to 20% of it is playable, and then a lot just isn't unless you were specifically into these one-off cards. And then there's some cards that even the casual players ignore because they're just like linear equation cannon, kind of fun gimmicks, but they just are not going to be played. So I think that there's something there. Like, I think Konami could revisit it. I would certainly like it because if nothing else, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is, we all know, we're kind of like, hungry for alt formats and stuff. So
we're starving, Konami.
But yeah, that's like the Magic the Gathering story. Like I said, if you are a Magic player, I would like to hear your opinions on the idea of this play booster. How are you feeling about it? I know it's not out yet, so you can't really know, but just are we hot or cold on it right now?
You know what I'm very cold on, that I wish I was hot on?
Okay.
Pokemon skateboards.
Oh, okay, a new Pokemon thing?
Yeah, so a recent collab between Pokemon, the Pokemon Company, and Santa Cruz Skateboards, which sold out in seconds. Like, it was gone almost immediately. Thousands of people were buying sealed, unowned decks, skate decks.
Okay, yeah, it's funny because in this podcast, it could be either one. Yeah.
And immediately reselling these sealed, unopened packages for thousands of dollars online.
Yay!
So like, by the time this person was able to write this article, they came out and were already being resold online for exorbitant prices. What's interesting is these skateboards, they're all sealed, so you actually don't see what's inside of it. What is it? There is a very low chance of pulling a gold skateboard. And there's 5 golden designs: Eevee, Gyarados, Pikachu, Charizard, and Mimikyu. And I think there are only 50 of each of them in the entire world.
Okay, so a new Pokemon collab has gone overboard.
Yes, bored. I see what you did there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I meant to do that. I mean, listen, I don't know what to say anymore. It's I'm going to say, this is kind of the sad part about Pokemon right now. It's just too freaking popular for its own good.
It's crazy popular.
It's just
insane.
like, it feels like it's impossible for Pokemon to do anything cool without it being ruined. Because, I'll just go ahead and mention my story because it's closely related.
What you got?
Do you remember how the other week we were talking about the Pikachu with gray felt hat promo card, the Pokemon Van Gogh Museum? Yeah, no more of that. They had to cut it out entirely. So, unfortunately, due to the behavior of some resellers and Pokemon fans, the Van Gogh Museum will no longer be distributing the Pikachu with gray felt hat promotional card. So here's the scoop. The Van Gogh Museum, this is their statement. The Van Gogh Museum and the Pokemon Company International take the safety and security of visitors and staff very seriously. Recently, a small group of individuals has created an undesirable situation that has led us to take the difficult decision to remove the Pikachu with gray felt hat promo card from the museum. In this way, visitors will be able to experience the special collection of Pokemon paintings and the rest of the museum in a safe and enjoyable manner. So while they don't go into detail about exactly what happened, I guess you can put 2 and 2 together, can't you? Because basically, scalpers and people were like showing up at this museum and apparently harassing visitors and staff to try to get additional copies of these promo cards because they're going for loads on eBay.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm trying to see if I cop me one.
So I know, right? I don't know what the prices of them are right now.
Go is spelled
Type in
Gogh, right?
Well, are you trying to find the price of the card?
Yeah, I'm going to eBay.
It's Pikachu with gray felt hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be the name of the card.
Okay.
You can see like how much those are going for. But yeah, basically it sounds to me like some crazed people were harassing staff at the museum. Because the thing is it's the Van Gogh Museum. Like, this isn't just a Pokemon pop-up shop, right? it's like an actual like museum of art and stuff. And so there are supposed to be normal people who like show up and just want to like tour the museum. And it sounds like scalpers were being, unhinged barbarians and ruining the experience for people, ruining the experience for staff, and all in the attempts at getting this card that I guess you were supposed to resell. Have you found anything? What are you seeing?
So I don't know if there's more details about this that I need to be privy of to understand what I'm seeing here.
Okay.
eBay has a ton of listings for this thing, but the prices are all over the place.
Well, some might be auctions. So, like, are there buy it nows or anything?
So at least on the ones that have the authenticity guarantee kind of check mark on them, those are all for at least $550.
Okay.
But all the ones that don't have the check mark, they're on here for like $100.
Interesting. Well,
like I don't understand why, if you can sell it for $500, why aren't you?
I don't know the whole situation and the price of the card. Somebody can maybe fill me in on that as well. But
maybe they're fake.
I mean, I doubt it. But then again,
only two of them have the authenticity check mark.
But just to focus on, I guess, just the story itself, is this not just like kind of sad? Because you know that these are like adults, right? Well. These are like grown people being.
No kids was going to the Van Gogh Museum.
No, that's the problem. But like, I'm sure that there were parents who were like bringing their kids to like go and maybe get the card.
Come on, Jimmy, go. You like Van Gogh, don't you? You love Pikachu, don't you?
Dad wants a card to sell for $1,000. Yeah, so they had to stop distributing that.
That is lame. I
remember just a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it before. They were saying how like they'd run out like online and stuff, and they were gonna like kind of restock it or something. It sounds like they're just like, we're not doing this anymore.
I think I speak for many people when I say, I'm just sick of greedy nerds. Though it's unfair. I feel like the nerds who love Pokemon aren't doing this. It's just the greedy people.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is a lot of the people who want these cards, these resellers, they're not interested in Pokemon. Right? I mean, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but like,
insofar as how much they can make.
Yeah, off they want money. Like they're interested in Pokemon cards values. Like that's what they're interested in, and so it's a bit of a shame that like with the skateboard situation, like Pokemon can't do anything anymore. Like I mean, it can do like these cool collabs, but it's just they do a Happy Meal, sells out. Then there ends up being some story about violence somehow. Someone got shot at a McDonald's over a Happy Meal.
What?
No, I don't think that happened. But like,
it sounded like
hyperbole, hopefully. But like, I mean, it's just they do a Happy Meal, it sells out, and like people are listing it on eBay for like $200. They try to do a skateboard, sells out in minutes.
I can get a Pokemon Happy Meal on eBay.
Check how much there's like a price to that. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're always limited time things.
I wonder if the food will still be in it.
Gross, but because usually it's like the little Happy Meal box and like the promo cards that come in it. Those are kind of the.
If people are selling it, they don't have the whole thing listed.
Okay, well, but yeah, it's like they do a Happy Meal, sells out. They do skateboards, sells out. Van Gogh Museum promo card, like people get harassed and try to get. So it's just like, man, Pokemon. It seems like they have a tough time like doing things like this.
I mean, that's what happens when you're the number one franchise in the world, and it seems by far, it feels like nothing's even close.
Yeah, nothing can, because I mean, like you've got other franchises that are popular, but like it still feels like it's their fans who want the stuff.
Yeah, nothing feels so ravenously popular.
Like if Star Wars does something, it'll sell out among Star Wars fans, but it doesn't feel like it's like the whole world comes out of the woodwork to kind of just scalp it. And
what's interesting about that is it doesn't even necessarily sell out with Star Wars things. Even like the most cool memorabilia, I mean, it'll sell, it just probably won't sell out. It feels like people aren't ready to just risk life and limb for Star Wars merch as they are for Pokemon merch.
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy because I think half the people want to kind of collect it and have it, and the other half just want to sell it. So, yeah, I just thought that these are very similar stories. So I throw mine in the ring. I mean, it's unfortunate. I I would love a Pokemon skateboard.
Well, you can get one for like $1,000.
Yeah.
I think the price I saw was $1,120.
Cool.
Which I think they were only sold for like a couple hundred, but oh well, that's the price.
I know they did Yu-Gi-Oh skateboards recently. Or they announced some.
We have a Yu-Gi-Oh skateboard that I have not seen you ride yet.
I mean, I tried once. I think we did a video on it. I think you tried to ride it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I can't really ride a skateboard. I'm not very.
Well, it's time to learn, Paul. So my next story. So remember, the worst game of 2023.
Worst game of 2023.
Yes.
What would that be?
The Lord of the Rings Gollum game.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, there's now a game that is right there with it. So it's called Rise of Kong. And to some of you guys, you may immediately have an idea of what this is, but Paul won't. It's a King Kong game.
Okay.
And it's kind of out of nowhere. You know, typically games that are centered around those types of IPs, they're wrapped into a movie release or something. It's not, and almost rightfully so, because this is probably worse than a movie game I've ever seen.
Okay.
So, Rise of Kong, to say it's an incomplete game would be giving it
when
too
did this
much
come
credit.
out?
Yesterday or today?
Okay, so it's like a new game.
Yeah, it's brand new. That people have been posting gameplay online. It looks
so it's just apparently like awful,
horrible. So you know, King Kong, giant monkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this game, you get to play as the giant monkey, but how do you think that? Like, how do they sell you on the fact you're playing a giant monkey?
I don't know.
This is what you do.
Okay.
You get into like Unreal Engine, and you just scale everything.
Oh, it's like to make it like kind of seem bigger, so that or like smaller.
You just scale the things around it to make it look big. When in the game, it looks like you're playing a normal sized gorilla, but like all of your enemies are like normal creatures, just like
scaled down. It's kind of weird.
Scale them down, but the environment around you is mixed. The trees are normal looking, but like rocks and stuff are scaled down again.
So it's like a weird, just bad perspective thing.
Yeah, horrible perspective. The game has the gameplay. It's a one button kind of button mashing kind of game where you just kind of point your gorilla towards something.
And like swings.
You press this your one button and it does all what it's supposed to do. The action looks horrible. It doesn't control well. Your gorilla's kind of floaty, and like the physics of the game just don't look right.
Okay. I mean,
it's an absolute mess of a game.
I mean, I remember Gollum came out and people said that was awful. But like, it sounds like it was at least like a functional game.
Like, well, Gollum was also very glitchy, like unbelievably glitchy. Now, I haven't heard too much about this game having glitches. It's just like not complete. It feels like it's someone's like project, like a school project where I want to make a video game.
Yeah. I mean, but like the thing is, Steam gets a lot of those weird just shit simulators where it's like just like cow simulator or like surgery simulator. I mean, some of them are like really fun and people like them, but
this game is not that.
Well, there are some games that are really good. In fact, I got a list of the 10 best-selling video games of all time.
Are you serious?
Yes, a recently updated article by IGN.
Okay.
We're going to go through it because video games.
Sure.
I don't know. This is a recent story, so I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. All right, so I want you to guess the number 10 best-selling video game of all time. They do mention that there are some that didn't make this list because they were not able to like get accurate data for them, like Diablo 3 and the Call of Duty franchise.
What are the limits of what's the scope of this? Because
so pack-in games are counted towards sales totals. So like if it was bundled with a console, free downloads are not considered sales.
Oh,
so
that the mobile game
excludes,
sphere is not included.
Fortnite and League of Legends are excluded from this, for instance. And then due to a lack of sales data, they didn't have things like, they reached out to Activision Blizzard for sales numbers for like Diablo 3, which had like 30 million units as of June 2015, but it's obviously been like
it's been a
year since then, and the
since
Call of Duty franchise. So that's kind of
what I'm hearing here is this list is not even complete.
it's probably not that accurate.
But okay, if I had to try and guess the number 10 game, so oh man, this is gonna be tough. But I feel like it's a sports game.
It is not.
Dang.
It is Overwatch at 50 million.
Okay, Overwatch at 50 million. All right.
Yeah, Overwatch elevated the hero shooter genre with brilliant game design, thoughtfully crafted heroes, and continued esports support.
Bloodborne.
And was replaced in October 2022
Battleborn.
with its sequel, Overwatch 2, which has been met with mixed reception. But
Overwatch 2 made me quit Overwatch forever.
Number 9, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Kind of a surprise?
Nah, solid game.
Very solid game. I know people really like the game. I think it just post-launch got a lot of sales because it had like so many expansions and stuff.
It was that final expansion that pushed it into from kind of like cult game to like this is an RPG you need to play.
Yeah, so total sales sit at over 75 million. Red Dead Redemption 2 is number 8.
That's fair. That's fair.
So this is a Rockstar game, which
funnily enough, I don't play Rockstar games, but everyone else does, so I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah, I heard a lot of really great stuff about Red Dead Redemption 2. I heard it was there's like a rumor that they were going to be remastering this or something.
I wouldn't be surprised. My older brother talks about Red Dead Redemption almost constantly.
Yeah, so it came out in 2018, but yeah, so number 7, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Oh, quick interjection here. Is the top 5 Pokemon games? Because I can just leave.
I won't spoil what the top 5 are. We're going to go in order, all right? You're going to listen.
Fine.
The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. I do remember a funny story about when Skyrim came out, because I think it was, in 2011?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely 2011.
Yeah. What's that supposed to mean?
Because that was my first year in college, and
oh, okay.
Skyrim was a huge deal.
Yeah, I think I was a junior in high school at that point. So I remember people actually planned, like a bunch of guys like planned to just skip school to play Skyrim. Like it was like Skyrim Day, and they all collectively were like, we're just not gonna come to school. We're just gonna play Skyrim.
Dudes didn't leave their dorms when Skyrim came out.
Yeah, I know. I had a cousin. He played a lot of Skyrim.
That and Black Ops. Oh my god.
So yeah, I just know like Skyrim. There were like memes attached to it. Like what was it? There was like
arrow to the knee.
Yeah, the arrow to the knee. There was the thing where like people make like a funny video where a person gets like murdered or deleted from existence, and like they wake up at the Skyrim opening or whatever.
Yeah, you wake up in that little wagon.
I think that they have remastered this as well, like
Skyrim?
for PS5 and all that.
Skyrim's been remastered. It's been
a few
modded
times,
up quite a few times, and it's been YouTube pooped.
Yeah, lots of mods. I know there are people who make some unhinged Skyrim mods.
I remember I had a mod that I installed that made my Skyrim character do unscrupulous acts, and I didn't know how to turn it off. Wow. And I was very upset when my Skyrim character started bribing his way out of jail.
Bribing? Okay. Mario Kart 8 Plus Deluxe is number 6.
All right.
So, over 55 million copies sold as of June.
Mario Kart only at number 5?
6, actually.
6. Ooh.
This is sales of the Wii U game and the Switch game, because the Switch game is just deluxe.
That means that the next ones have to be huge.
Yeah, it's the best-selling Switch game. That's not a surprise. They've been releasing so much DLC for that game. Like I don't know how many races are in that game right now. Like 50 characters, like 80 freaking tracks or something.
That this game is still the Mario Kart.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Nintendo kind of found out with the Wii U. They released it on the Wii U, but the Wii U wasn't a great console. So, like, sales-wise and stuff. So they realized, okay, we're just going to like re-release this on the Switch. And they got a lot of sales for it. And, like, it gets bundled with a lot of Switches. It's, like, literally the easiest party game to bring into family gathering.
People don't need new Mario Karts.
Yeah, you don't really need like a new
You
entry.
need Mario Kart. But you don't need new ones.
And I feel like with 8, they kind of perfected the physics and the formula so much that like, I mean, I guess they'll have to make a 9 like eventually, but really, I mean, like you don't, like you said, like you don't need a new one. You bring Mario Kart to the party and all your little friends and cousins and brothers and sisters and everyone can just
Yeah, the
play it.
lifetime on the game is just stupid long, and that's in true Nintendo fashion. I mean that's how it was back in the day with like Mario Party and stuff. We ran those games for a minute before they needed.
Like they don't have to have great graphics. You don't really need a new one. It's a very like play it forever formula. Number 5 is PUBG. Didn't expect that.
You have to pay for PUBG?
Given its critical role in the rising popularity of battle royale games over the last 5 years, it's unsurprising that PUBG has been a massive sales success. They told The Verge that it has sold 75 million copies as of December 2021.
Wait. I paid for PUBG?
It went free to play in January 2022. But apparently you paid for it, I guess. I didn't remember. I thought PUBG was like a free download too.
I don't remember buying it. Cuz yeah, guys, for context, I did play PUBG early in the battle royale kind of lifespan, but I don't remember buying it. I feel bad for buying it because I didn't play it long.
I wonder how much it cost. Like, was it like a 60? Surely not $60.
It couldn't have been expensive. There's no way I would have spent.
I feel like PUBG looked like crap, and like it was like a fun game. They said
it was fine. I wouldn't even call it very fun. I just wanted to be a hipster and be a PUBG player. It was during that time when you could be an elitist by claiming that you played PUBG over like Fortnite.
Yeah. Fortnite since gone on to be the.
And now I play Fortnite all the time.
Well, number 4 is Wii Sports. That's not a surprise, but I don't think that's really fair to include here. I mean, like, it's bundled with every Wii, so.
But, like, the Wii is.
The Wii sold, like, gold.
Yeah.
But so, of course, like, Wii Sports is going to be up there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, that said, Wii Sports was a good, like, perfect console entry, like, title for a console like that, where it's, like, motion controls, you play baseball, boxing, golf, or was it bowling? Mm-hmm. And they had like
Wii Sports
golf.
Saw
I want to say
a kind of resurgence during the pandemic.
Did it?
Yeah, there were people firing up Wii Sports again because there's a Switch game that was similar-ish that got popular, and when people couldn't get their hands on that anymore, I saw posts about people firing up the Wii.
Yeah, a funny thing about the Wii is it's kind of like influenced this weird sect of internet culture where like people use like the Wii Shop channel music and like the Me
it is iconic
creator music and stuff like that. Yeah, so
even though it was so weird,
it was very
that was a
bizarre.
Weird console.
Yeah.
No, thank you Nintendo for always finding a way to make the weird consoles.
Now you know the next one.
I do.
There's 3 left, so you're gonna guess what the 3 best-selling games of all time are.
I mean, I'm sure they're all Nintendo. Is one Legends of Zelda something?
Oh, so actually, none of them are Nintendo.
None?
None of them.
Oh, okay. Well,
none of them are Nintendo. That's your hint.
And these are games you had to pay for.
Yes, I'll give you one hint.
Please.
One is very old.
Okay, all right, okay.
One is very old. The others, you could argue, are also quite old, but not like as old as one of them.
It's hard to imagine something outselling like Wii Sports. Halo 2?
Oh God, no. So number 3 is Grand Theft Auto 5, which shouldn't really be a surprise.
Oh yeah, it's so old.
They've re-released that crap so many times. I saw that one meme about the girl like on the cover he has like an iPhone like 4S or something, 5 5. Yeah. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best-selling console/PC only game of all time. Surpassed 185 million units as of August 2023.
Okay.
That's across the game's 3 different console generations and PC. So, yeah, I mean, it came out on like September 17th, 2013, back on the PS3 and Xbox 360.
Jeez.
And they re-released it on PS4 and Xbox One, and they've also re-released it on PS5 and Xbox Series X, and of course, it's been on PC. So, yeah, they remastered this game, released this game, and they made Grand Theft Auto Online. It's
okay, well, now I really don't know what the next 2 are then.
Number 2 is Minecraft.
You have to pay for Minecraft?
I didn't know that either. I guess like you have to pay like $10 or something. I don't know. Minecraft has sold over 300 million copies as of late 2023, Mojang announced. So that figure captures the sales total across Minecraft's many platforms.
Did Didn't know people paid for that. I thought it was a free-to-play game.
Yeah, it came out on May 17th, 2009. And it's just been on like every platform you can imagine has Minecraft.
I have seen my younger brother play it on his phone and his Switch before, and the computer.
It's on like 3DS, Wii U, Switch, Vita, PS3, PS4, 360, Xbox One, VR.
Oh yeah,
mobile.
I did.
Yeah,
see
I mean, like
someone,
you can play
play it
Minecraft on
VR.
everything.
I know, not me. I can't. I can't do it. No.
Oh, you're one of those like I wouldn't be caught dead playing this game.
Well, I just don't like Minecraft. Like
to this day I've never played it once, and I still don't actually know what you do in that game.
you break blocks and you build stuff. You play Smash. You know.
All right, so
Minecraft Steve.
Number 1, take a guess.
Could not tell you. Under no circumstances can I know the answer to this.
It's very old. I will tell you the year it released.
All right, give me that.
1984.
What the heck? 1984
is a very iconic game. I mean, of course it is if it's number 1.
At 84? I wasn't alive then. So this has to be one of the greats then.
Yeah, it's like one of the greats.
Oh my gosh.
It's very simple, I'll say that.
So but it's going to be after the arcade era. So I'm going to go with, it had to have been something that was on one of the first consoles. Maybe the family computer. No.
I don't even know like what these consoles' names are actually.
84?
Yeah, just take a guess. It's not a Nintendo game.
You didn't have to. Well, no, I guess you would have had to have played for it.
I would give you one more hint, but it would like pretty much give it away.
It's not Pac-Man, is it?
It's Tetris. Just Tetris.
People pay for Tetris?
Yeah. You can pay for Tetris it's on like just every platform and almost every shop. It's got loads of different renditions and versions of it. But yeah, Tetris.
Atari.
Over 520 million. It released on Electronica 60.
Oh no, Tetris.
Whatever that means. So yeah, it came out on June 6, 1984, and it's just been released ever since.
That's insane to me because it's hard to imagine someone paying for Tetris because I've played Tetris. I've never paid for Tetris.
Yeah, I feel like it's always like bundled in or like a free thing. So, and here were just outside the top 10. Number 13 was Terraria.
That's a popular game. I didn't know it was that popular.
Number 12 was Pokemon Red and Blue at 47 million sold units.
I thought they'd be higher.
Same. And then number 11 was Super Mario Bros. At 48 million.
So those were the games I kept expecting to be at the highest levels of this, but I guess because of like bundled releases and re-releases of games, the volume just got stupid.
Yeah, it's a weird list because I feel like it's not like, some of these games are like just they've been like bundled into things or like had so many different versions. It's hard to like exactly say, but that's their list. So I just thought it would be fun to share.
That was something. That was something. You took me on a trip there.
Yeah, I was
not prepared. Not one bit.
So yeah. Any other stories?
What do I have? I think I have one more.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh yeah. So this concerns the MCU.
Oh, it's an MCU story. I haven't had one of those on here.
So, Daredevil hits reset button as Marvel overhauls its TV business.
Oh, I read this actually. Or like, I think I read this headline some days back.
It didn't take long to see the problem after Marvel Studios' Daredevil Born Again paused production mid-June during the writer's strike. Fewer than half of the series' 18 episodes had been shot, but it was enough for Marvel executives, including Chief Kevin Feige, to review the footage and come away with a clear-eyed assessment. This show wasn't working. So in late September, Marvel quietly let go head writers Chris Ord and Matt Corman and also released the directors for the remainder of the season as part of a significant creative reboot of the series.
Woo.
The studio is now on the hunt for new writers and directors for the project, which stars Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. So what caught my eye about this story was when they got into the specifics about how Marvel does this.
How do they do this? I'm not really sure.
So, through it all, the company eschewed the traditional TV making model. It didn't commission pilots, but instead shot entire $150 million plus seasons of TV on the fly. You know, in typical like cable television, you shoot pilots, and that's how you do your chemistry testing, and you get focus groups and all that to see if it will work. But Marvel does not do that.
They just kind of commit to the entire thing.
Yeah, because it just will be popular because it's Marvel.
Yeah.
It doesn't hire showrunners.
Yeah.
So the people that actually organize all of the filming and everything, but instead depended on film executives to run its series. You know, the people who just move dollars around.
Yes.
And as Marvel does for its movies, it relied on post-production and reshoots to fix what wasn't working.
Yeah, okay. So this is like maybe the second time we talked about Marvel on here, but I don't even know where to start with this. I have a lot of thoughts.
So,
guys, might be like one of those 2-hour podcasts this time. There's a lot to say about Marvel.
So I'm a big Marvel fan. I am not the biggest MCU fan. I'm a Marvel fan.
Yes.
And I've watched every part of the MCU, but not as happily as some have.
Okay.
The MCU started off great. Mm-hmm. We had Iron Man. We thought it was standalone. We got Iron Man 2. We're like, oh, look, we're doing a little trilogy. That's cute. And we got Iron Man 3, and there was talk of more. Yeah. More. And we're thinking, okay, this is kind of cool. Right? We're going to get a whole Marvel cinematic universe. We got Nick Fury, the Black Widow, and
it popularized the term cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm. And then we got the Avengers, and
Captain America.
For a lot of people, they thought that was going to be it. But Marvel said, "Oh, we're just getting started," and they put us on this course towards Endgame, which was making Thanos the bad guy, whole cultural sensation.
Yeah, Infinity War and Endgame, snap,
and then the MCU got snapped for two reasons. One, Endgame ended. It was literally Endgame. And when Endgame ended, Marvel had to do an entire course correction now, because now we're no longer telling an epic story. Now we have to set up for a new one, or at least that's what they wanted to do. But then a pandemic happened, which completely changed the movie making and theater industry immediately. Mm-hmm. That snap gave us Disney Plus.
Thanos snapped it into existence.
Yeah, he snapped some things away and gave us things at the same time. It gave us Disney Plus. Disney and Marvel, they went all in on it. They started giving us TV shows. It was already proven through Netflix that original episodic content.
That was what was called Phase 4, right?
I don't. The phases are out of control.
Phases, yeah, okay.
Because it used to be that phases, that at the end of every phase, some grand event would happen. But Marvel has just been almost arbitrarily changing phases. It doesn't feel like every phase is distinct anymore. I don't even know what phase we're in. It doesn't even make any sense.
Sorry, continue. I got you off. Yeah.
But
my bad.
We got Disney Plus. They went all in on it, and they knew it could work because Netflix does it. But they didn't want to do it. They wanted to do it their way. The way they shoot these Marvel movies, like they said in the article, you get all the cool stuff. You shoot all the cool stuff and you make a trailer. Then you make the movie afterwards.
There's so much to... Yeah, okay.
And that was fine. And they got by with their movies. Disney Plus, though, is a different beast altogether, because they couldn't put as much money into these Disney Plus shows as they did with movies. Not just because they didn't want to, though I'm sure the top brass of Disney did not want to invest many, many, many millions of dollars into what is a TV show, but also TV shows don't return that much as compared to movies, so they couldn't make as much money. So from a financial aspect, you just don't want to invest that much money. But that's what it costs when you like to tell stories on the back end. When you want to use CG and post-production and reshoots to make your movies or your TV shows, that costs a lot of money. And Marvel, they're not going to pay all that for Secret Invasion. They're not going to pay all that for whatever Loki season 2 is becoming. They're not going to pay all that for what's it called? The one we watched before Secret Invasion.
Jesus, there's so many. She-Hulk, Miss Marvel,
all of them.
Okay,
all of them. They've all these shows. They've essentially been getting worse and worse since WandaVision, because at first they were investing a lot into it because the pandemic made people sit in front of their screens and it made them watch these shows, and these were still the most popular things on streaming. Now they're still popular, but they're not that popular anymore, and the critical reception has been horrible. Yeah. But they don't want to do things by the book. They don't want to utilize writers the way they're meant to be utilized. They don't want to use actors the way they're meant to utilize actors. Actors work their best when everything is highly organized and scripted out and they can play their parts. But when they don't even know what they're doing, Marvel actors, they don't have the full idea when they get these scripts. They don't they don't know what this is going to look like until it's done.
Well, yeah, so I guess let me hop in too. My experience with Marvel is a little bit different. So I know that like you and other, friends of ours and stuff, you're a pretty big Marvel fan, like of the comics as well. You have like some background in that, and you've read a lot of those. Alex too,
comics,
Larry
video games.
I didn't know anything about Marvel. I did not watch a lot of the movies when they were first coming out. Like I've never seen Iron Man. I haven't seen a single Iron Man movie. I've seen a couple of Avengers movies and like stray scant things when they would come out. That was pretty much my experience with Marvel up through like Endgame or whatever. I didn't see Endgame. I saw Infinity War and I just didn't see the second part of it. So like that's like literally kind of where I am. So I made the decision a few years ago to start like kind of following this Marvel thing. Cause like it seemed like people liked it and it was fun, like whatever. So like I've seen pretty much everything in what I believe is phase 4, where it's like I watched Spider-Man No Way Home with the one had like the 3 Spider-Man and stuff. And since then I've pretty much watched every new like Marvel thing. I watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I watched Thor Love and Thunder. I watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Ant-Man. And like I've been watching the Netflix shows, or not the Disney Plus shows. I watched like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, all that stuff. I didn't watch some of the earlier ones.
You didn't see Shang-Chi then.
Yeah, I didn't see Shang-Chi. So like I've got a bit of a mix of what I see, but my main thing with the Marvel stuff is I feel like they're just releasing too much content. Like that honestly feels like it's what it is. It's like there's always a new Marvel show kind of around the corner, and sometimes you watch them and like the quality is mixed. I've liked some, and like I haven't. You said
the quality's mid. What was that?
I mean, yeah, I would actually say that it averages at about mid, right? Like some of the shows are pretty good. Some aren't. Like I didn't really love Secret Invasion, but I thought Miss Marvel was fine. I didn't. I liked She-Hulk, but then like I feel like the ending kind of botched it. Like Moon Knight was all right, but I just feel like there's like so much content and you're kind of expected to, I guess, consume all of it if you want to follow the overall universe. Like maybe, and then like now they've added this multiverse thing, and what it leads me to all believe, because with the multiverse, it's like, we talked about this once the other day. I feel like it's kind of a cop-out way of like writing a universe.
Yes.
Because like anything's like kind of technically canon if you want it to be, and if we kill a character off, we could bring them back because it's just, remember, there was a universe where Iron Man didn't die. Like you could always just write that.
Yeah, you can always say
that it happened. And I think that when Endgame like kind of was the big cultural phenomenon, I kind of think it should have like ended there. Like that was kind of the end of the 2010s decade.
Oh, you about to get cooked in the
And
comments.
well, I think that would have been a good time to end like
they're cooking
this
me first.
superhero movie decade and just be like, okay, we're just gonna do something else. But obviously, like I get it. Disney owns Marvel. They want content. They want money, and they have a streaming service. They want like everything to just go. So I think that's where they made this decision to just make a billion different shows and like all this stuff. And it's just, I feel like it's just too much, and you can sort of see that the quality begins to suffer for it. But amidst all of this, the Marvel Netflix shows, that's where like Daredevil kind of originated, was like a Marvel Netflix show, always felt like they were like separate from all that when they were airing like, 2015, 16, 17, that stuff. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, those good shows, maybe barring Iron Fist. I know people didn't like that too much. I didn't mind it. But
Iron Fist season 2 was better than people know.
But I liked the Marvel Netflix shows. They were very separate from the MCU. Like
they had their Avengers, the Defenders.
Yeah, like exactly. And I mean, I think that it was pretty good, very ground level heroes, pretty gritty, adulty stories. Not without like some of their issues, but Daredevil was pretty universally liked. I enjoyed it, liked all 3 seasons, good times. When they announced Daredevil Born Again, I was already worried because I was like, okay, it's going to be a Disney Plus show, which probably means the tone's going to be a little bit different. And that's sort of what they wwere alluding to in like early interviews and statements, was like, it's going to be a little bit more like family friendly and stuff. And I know people kind of like Daredevil's grittiness and like fight scenes.
The
and
first
kind of,
season of Daredevil was very family friendly.
rough fights and stuff like that. So I knew that was already like kind of a bit of a concern. I don't know. I mean, it sounds concerning that they've thrown away like maybe the first third or whatever of the show that's been like shot.
I'm not surprised.
So I don't know if they're gonna like use any of that or what. Like
right now, the MCU feels very unorganized.
It does.
It's like early MCU it was such a simple formula. It felt like you had Iron Man, you had Captain America,
and everything kind of just was around them.
I mean, we got Avengers. And they're like, oh, what's cool? We have all these characters. Let's make Civil War. Let's pit them against each other. It felt like it took very little work to get payoffs in the like characters they created and then the interactions that you wanted to see. But now with Disney Plus and all the content coming out, we're not getting payoffs anymore. But like we keep expecting them, and so our expectations are building and building and building.
Yeah,
and it can't really come together.
Okay, that's what it is actually. Is the fact that they're kind of trying to recapture lightning in a bottle, and I don't think it's something that you can really do twice. Because like the Infinity Saga, if that's I think is what they call it, like just basically up through Endgame, like from Iron Man to Endgame, like the Infinity Saga, those 3 phases or whatever. I think they worked because it was the first time anyone had done that. It was very ambitious and new for the time. At the end of every Marvel movie, you stayed and watched the post-credit scenes. Like Marvel popularized the post-credit scene, and it would allude to what you could kind of expect next. And so if you watch the movies in order, it felt like the stakes were building and you were learning more, and like the world was like broadening and stuff like that. And it all kind of culminated and you got a payoff at the end. So the movie itself gave you a payoff just to its ending, but then it also gave you a reason to keep watching. And then it all kind of culminates in Infinity War and Endgame, and everyone goes and sees Endgame. You go see it like 3 times in the theaters, and everyone's talking about it.
I only saw it once.
And like, I think that now with this new saga where it's like supposed to be like the Kang Dynasty or whatever, it feels like we're being told that that's going to happen again, but you can't experience something twice. I mean, you can, but like, you can't do that excitement twice because now we're expecting it. And so it's like, I think that it keeps a lot of Marvel fans on the hook where it's like you kind of, it's going to be big, guys. Like, don't worry, just wait. Like, it's going to come, it's going to all like amount to something. But so far, what I've seen is just like a bunch of stories that feel like filler arcs, and they feel like they're not
standalone.
They feel kind of standalone with this weird attempt at implying that there's like a multiverse. So like it could sort of all mix, but like it hasn't really. Like, I mean, I was watching Thor and I was like, okay, this is a good, and like it just felt like kind of weird filler, and like Doctor Strange kind of felt like weird filler, and it just, it's like this weird mix of filler arcs and like winding down stories for characters. I know that there's kind of been this trend of trying to introduce younger characters into the Avengers, like the Miss Marvel types and like America Chavez. I know she was in the, Doctor Strange. So like there's a little bit of that. It's just a little bizarre. Like, I don't know if it just feels like it's disparate. Like they don't know, they're kind of throwing everything to the wall, see what sticks. some movies, like I heard that the Ant-Man movie, Quantumania, got like the ending got changed in the last month before it went out in theaters.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, like they reshot it and like re-edited everything, and so like it got like a different ending. And it just feels like what I'm hearing like with the Daredevil thing too is just like they can't ever quite decide exactly what they want, and so they just kind of like, oh, well, we'll just change course right now. And like it's just my understanding is that we're like kind of in the early to middle of like phase 5, but like where are we headed, right? Like I don't know.
We can actually just look at what's come out and you can just see there's a problem. Early MCU, the movies kind of work together to make like a pyramid, one block, put a block on top, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So if I look at WandaVision, all right, WandaVision, it connected to, let's say...
It connected to Multiverse of Madness. It was,
connected to Multiverse of Madness. It kind of connected to Captain Marvel through one of its characters being in like the Marvels movie, but it's kind of like a phantom connection because this one character from WandaVision is just in that movie. It doesn't actually connect the two. Miss Marvel's she's in the Marvels.
Yeah.
She's in it, so it connects. But so okay, what else came out around that time? Oh, Moon Knight.
Yeah, then it just like Moon Knight feels very isolated.
Well, She-Hulk surely. She-Hulk will connect to Daredevil Born Again.
I suppose,
which hasn't come out yet, but it's already connected.
Yeah, they're reshooting it.
And Kang is in which one of those? Loki. Loki's connected to...
It feels like they have this weird thing where, like, they are afraid to maybe commit to, like, an overall story because they just don't know. It's like what will resonate, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we'll just sort of, like, do screen tests and just judge based on the popularity of things. So I get the feeling that with the Infinity Saga, they had a vision in place of kind of where it was supposed to end. I'm sure that changed throughout, but like it feels like there was more of a clear goal. Whereas like here, I'm just like, man, I don't know what is going on. Because like you've got half these characters who are new, half these characters who are like post Endgame and just kind of like in a midlife crisis. Like I don't know what Thor's really doing. And then you have like real world sort of things that are factoring in where it's like, okay, you know, they had to literally change the world of Black Panther.
Yes.
In a way. And then also, like, there's kind of the Jonathan Majors controversy where it seems like they were more hesitant to, like, maybe feature him. Like, I know there's, like, a lot of material. I'm sure they've already filmed with him. But, like, and then there's, like, weird delays. Some shows just, like, get kind of pushed back.
Horribly so. You know, Blade is still not out yet.
Yeah, I know. And so I just... Then there's the writer's strike, and I know that's not helping. So it's like, you know, good for the writers, not saying that like it's like a bad thing, but just that it's...
You took away our Marvel.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'd do without my next Marvel show as their quality degrades. So I don't know. I mean, I think like with Daredevil Born Again, I know this is going to sound like this is like a very uneducated answer, but just get the people who did the original ones on Netflix, hire them back and let them do another season.
It's like...
I know they don't want to do that. I know there's like probably a billion reasons why they can't or won't, but like
it's like
they know Daredevil. Like the people who worked on the original Daredevil, I feel like would be the best suited people to do it.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the main reason why they don't do that is actually just to be separate from the original. They kind of want to rebrand it a bit.
It's like a soft reboot thing.
It's all new, all different Daredevil. That's a Marvel Comics reference. All new.
I wouldn't know.
But,
some listener will.
But they just want to be able to rebrand it. So they want to keep a bit of what made that show great. Charlie Cox and a few other actors.
Not Karen Page and Foggy Nelson apparently.
Clearly not
in it.
Even though they were beloved. But they had to cut something so that they could try and be distinct and different. And I can't say it didn't work out because
we don't know. Yeah,
but this with these Marvel TV shows and movies. It's usually a really bad sign when they have to do like early reshoots and like rewrites. So I mean, Thor had that happen, and Love and Thunder, which I enjoyed, but I enjoy Thor movies as nonsense. Like.
Yeah, no. Generally, the movie was pretty panned.
Like I don't look for plot in Thor movies. It's not a thing that I do. So I liked it, even if no one else did. the thing is, I don't think I'm gonna look for that in Daredevil. I'm gonna want,
Yeah,
something.
I don't know. I don't know what they got to do. I'm honestly, I mean, I'm gonna watch most of it regardless. I've kind of gotten to a point where like I'll just watch these Marvel things as passive entertainment, whether they're good or bad or whatever. But I mean, I do feel bad for I think fans who are maybe on the hook and wanting more or wanting it to feel like it's leading up to something, because it does feel like the quality is sort of slipping a bit, and I hope they can figure that out.
I'll be completely real and honest. I really think Marvel is done. I don't think we're ever gonna get the payoff for this whole Kang Dynasty thing.
Yeah, I don't.
Whatever
know
they
that it
give
will
us,
amount to.
if we even reach the end, because I'm not even sure we're gonna see the end of this arc. If we do, I don't think it's going to be very satisfying.
Yeah.
But I think it's more likely that we will just never see the end of the Kang Dynasty arc.
You're a Marvel doomer, aren't you?
It's mostly just because, like, it feels like One Piece.
They're just pushing it as long as... But even with One Piece, though, like, people always... No one really says that One Piece is, like, getting worse. It just goes.
Yeah.
With Marvel, it feels like it just goes, and it's getting worse. Like, it's getting more scrambly. The difference between
Marvel and One Piece has been around for many, many years, and it's been fairly consistent. It has a large fan base, and as we recently learned, it will end. Marvel has not been consistent. Its fan base is clearly all over the place right now, and there is no distinct... We don't know where One Piece is for Marvel. We're like... Are we close right now? Are we hot or are we cold? Like no one can tell me, like, when do we fight Kang? Where's our end game?
And I think that this multiverse thing just isn't helping. I know this will be my last bit on this as well. As I read like some article the other day that came out from like the people who worked on maybe Guardians 3 or something like that, where they were just saying like the state of Marvel is basically that right now they throw these movies out as like effectively focus groups, except they're movies, and they will change anything at a moment's notice. Nothing is sacred. Characters will be cold, and characters will be revived ad nauseum until like, and we will see what audiences react best to, and that is what we will go with. So there was like someone said that about like Kevin Feige and the people who work on that, like they want to, at the end of Kang Dynasty, there's like a rumor or something, they want to basically do something that's like a soft reboot, where they just call a bunch of characters, like whatever characters weren't popular, goodbye, and whatever characters people liked, continue, and if they want like an old character back, we can write them back in. We will dig up graves, right? Oh, Tony Stark's back. He survived in that other, in this alternate universe, right? Like they will, whatever characters need to, because, and I think that is like a Disney thing. I think that is just, it's the content cycle where we just need people to watch, and we will give them what they want to watch. We will milk things for all they're worth. We will dig up graves. If you like the character, they'll be back. If you don't, they're gone. And
I mean, which is true to the Marvel Comics strategy. I mean, there's a reason why Wolverine is still alive, even though he's died a few times.
So we'll see. I mean, like, I hope, as someone who really liked the Daredevil show, I have my worries, especially hearing this new news. But we're going to be optimistic. They'll figure it out. It'll be great.
It won't. Look, I'm sorry. After Secret Invasion, I can't be like optimistic about Marvel works. I'm going to watch them because I'm a Marvel fan. But as far as MCU works go, I have my expectations are in the gutter.
Yeah, they're not high. Well, I guess that brings us to the pot.
Oh yeah, we've been at it for so long. I forgot.
Yeah, so we've got some new questions from you guys to open up. Oh yeah, by the way, I know we gotta show the pot at least once,
so they know it's still
videos,
here.
So they know it's there. We're going to try to find a way to show it on screen more often, but
right now we're in it's a small space. It's not.
We're figuring
something out.
Figuring things out.
All right, I have a question here.
Okay.
Are you going to try the Doctor Who set in Magic the Gathering?
No, I don't play Magic the Gathering, but you do.
My answer to that question is who?
Oh, you don't know very...
Yeah, so I actually don't know much about Doctor Who. I know very, very little. I know that there's a guy called the Doctor, or there's been multiple doctors, and
Yeah,
British.
I mean, I don't blame. I know it's like a lame question answer to the question. I don't play Magic. I mean, Larry probably
what if
will.
Doctor Who was
but
in Yu-Gi-Oh? Would you play it?
no, I still don't know about Doctor Who. I mean, I guess I'll play Yu-Gi-Oh, but Yu-Gi-Oh would never get that. What Yu-Gi-Oh would get is just like a character loosely inspired, and they wouldn't like officially say it.
Time Thief.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, that's as close as I can get to a Doctor Who reference in it.
Well, here's mine. Favorite Gundam and Yu-Gi-Oh models. I remember I read this question. Alec, you collect Gundam or Gunpla models, and we've opened and put together like some Yu-Gi-Oh models, like from Bandai.
So, is it my favorite by by building experience, or my favorite?
I think you get to interpret it however you want.
Oh, okay.
I can only answer the Yu-Gi-Oh side of it.
I think my favorite building experience. It feels like a lame answer.
That's okay. It's your answer.
Cause like my favorite Gundam that I built was the Hayaku Shiki, which isn't technically a Gundam, but it is a Gunpla. But I built the Hayaku Shiki as my first master grade build, and it was my first. I found that build to be like fairly easy and fun because it turned out so nice. But it's not my favorite like Gundam.
What's your favorite Gundam?
Period. Because I feel like my favorite Gunpla kit is probably the Master Grade EX Strike Freedom. I don't own one because it's too expensive, and I probably wouldn't build it. But I just think it's a really, really, really cool kit. It's like the coolest kit ever. But
Okay.
And then as far as the Yu-Gi-Oh goes, I mean, we've only built one Yu-Gi-Oh model, right?
Well, two. We put together the Millennium Puzzle, and then we did the Exodia one recently.
I didn't really count the puzzle. The puzzle was a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it was a model kit
Because like the
you had to like snap
the plastic
pieces
modeling
off.
part was simple. It took very little time to put the pieces together.
It took them very little time to take them out of their things.
Like assembling the pieces was easy. It was assembling the puzzle.
I found that was my favorite
nightmare.
part. We did that. It was like an 8-hour-long stream.
Hated that.
You can find it on the main Team APS channel.
I don't like that. Didn't like
yeah,
it
that
one
one was
bit.
a fun time. I found the
We
Exodia one
disagree,
was
clearly.
the Exodia one was more like just putting together like a Gunpla model.
Yeah, I like the Exodia. It was fun.
Pretty easy. The pieces were quite large, but yeah.
But now we're getting a Zeus, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, is the Zeus from Bandai?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It probably is. Yeah.
Like it. I know there are non-Bandai model kits out there, but Bandai kind of has the whole model like thing on lock, like
sure.
stranglehold.
Well, yeah. As for me, I think the Millennium Puzzle was probably my favorite to put together. I've only put together like one Gunpla model. It was like an SD. So.
Hey man, I love SDs. That's my favorite type of. That's my favorite grade.
Simple, very easy.
Next to master grade, though I think real grades are the perfect grade. They just take too long for me to build. All right, what do I have here? What Yu-Gi-Oh crossover would you like? Now, we were just talking about crossovers not too long ago. I don't know. A crossover for Yu-Gi-Oh. What would I like to see on a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
So I guess it's just like similar to how
Magic does
Magic
their
does so many of
crossovers.
theirs. Well, in the unlikely event that Yu-Gi-Oh ever gets to really have something like that, they did Power Pro Baseball in like Master Duel.
They did, but I have no connection to
counts,
Power
doesn't
Pro.
it, or anything?
Like I just have no connection to it.
I mean, like, is it sad that as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I'm just so desperate? I'll take anything. Like, I don't even think that I would. Like, I don't think that I would really even have like I just want to see Yu-Gi-Oh do a crossover. I'll take just about anything they do. As for what feels like it would kind of fit within Yu-Gi-Oh's ethos today.
See, modern Yu-Gi-Oh makes that harder. When I think about the crossover, I kind of think of it from like my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh aesthetic, which is the older, dark, kind of grimy aesthetic.
Thing.
And for that, I really like the idea of a Lord of the Rings collab. I know Magic's already done it. However, Magic, wizards, orcs, monsters, trolls, like that's pretty old Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like
it might be hard to visually distinguish.
That's elves. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like people might not really feel like they're any different than like a regular monster.
Well, but that's the beauty of it. But then it's like
Instead
instead of like
it's for the people who are
like instead of marauding captain, it's Aragorn, and instead of the Celtic guardian, it's Legolas. Instead of the judge man, it's Gimli. You don't know these characters.
I'm gonna farm some comments here and say maybe they should make him black if they do.
Oh my god.
So whenever it's so funny, you bring that
black.
up and you just get free comments. Like people got to comment.
It's
Black Aragorn for Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's impressively controversial.
Yeah, I don't have any actual opinion on it. Okay, let's see. If I was to pick something for Yu-Gi-Oh to cross over with today that feels like relatively likely, I would not be surprised if they did something with like. Why did Genshin Impact come to my mind?
Ugh.
I don't want that. But it feels like something that they
work.
would. But like they do so many like kind of waifu, like kind of archetypes, and like it feels and like there's just more Yu-Gi-Oh monsters these days feel like they're like anime protag energy.
Like Apollosa feels like it could have been a Genshin character.
Yeah, so like would I like that?
Ash Blossom could have been a Genshin character.
But like yeah, like it kind of has
Div
the same.
Incarnate.
It has the same like energy to it, right?
Like any one of the Dragon Maids.
Or what they could do, because like it's Shueisha, is like get one of those Shueisha things that like they own, like One Piece or My Hero, Dragon Ball. Like in theory, these things could be.
I just don't like those for Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't either, but like I mean, if it has to be like a crossover like kind of thing
For modern Yu-Gi-Oh, I think you got to do either Mecha, Waifu, or dragons.
Yeah.
I think though that
and there's not really like a property that does like a lot with. What was that show? What was Game of Thrones? Yu-Gi-Oh! X Game. Didn't they have dragons in that?
I mean, yes, they had dragons in Game of Thrones.
Okay, I didn't watch it, so I don't know. I mean, like I just thought like because Yu-Gi-Oh!
They
does so
even
much with
had
dragons,
a Blue Eyes zombie dragon.
So yeah, that could be. I mean, Game of Thrones isn't like as popular right now. Like it's not really like running. There's that spin-off thing, but
It was good. That was House of the Dragon. It was
House of the
it
Dragon.
Was pretty good. It was solid.
All right, here's the next question. What's our stance on Konami printing busted cards that will get banned down the line?
So I know I've ranted about this before.
Well, time to rant again. I mean, listen, don't
know
get
what?
me started.
I'm taking the high ground here. I think it's kind of necessary at this stage in the game, with power creep being the name of the game here. The only way to make us buy cards after a Rise Heart or after Kick Callus and all the TR elements is to make something even more crazy. And we saw what had to happen to those two archetypes in order for us to move on.
All right, so I'm going to retread some old ground here and say that Yu-Gi-Oh's in desperate need of alternative formats, blah, 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 blah. Particularly a rotation format would be an interesting thing to try out. Is it the solution to everything? No. Is it something that could still be cool for Konami to try? Yes. So, with that all out of the way, I think because none of that exists, and it's unlikely to ever happen because Konami moves pretty slow with these Yu-Gi-Oh changes, that's why they have to just make strong cards, because strong cards are what, like, push things forward absent of a rotation. So like, because there is not a way to ensure that we will necessarily stop playing certain old cards outside of just player tastes kind of changing, Konami has simply decided, well, screw it. We're just going to make something that's so strong you kind of have to play it.
And we'll just ban the other ones.
And we'll also like kind of lightly ban and like tweak and whatever. Or in some cases, we don't even have to really ban a lot of them. We just creep. Right? Like that's what TR Elements and Kastura did, and like Sprite when it was released as well. Like Sword Soul and Branded were like the big decks at the time, and like the Brave engine
got
and
slapped around.
They didn't have to really ban any of their cards. They just released new archetypes that were just so overwhelmingly more consistent, more powerful, more just like high ceiling, whatever, that it kind of did the job for them. And like,
and that's what I bring up once again. The moment Rise Heart got banned, tier decks crept up again.
Yeah, like it's very. I mean, do I like it? No,
it doesn't matter what you think because this is the reality of the situation.
I mean, listen, they asked what I think, so
I guess they
care.
Okay, that's fair.
All I can say is I don't love it. I don't think it's like a great I don't think it's a great practice because I think that there's a better solution in just doing rotation so you don't have to make like extremely powerful cards. I think you could just make strong cards that are creatively strong in new ways, but not like just we're going to load up as many effects onto a Rise Heart as we can, right? Or whatever. So to answer the question, no, I don't like it. I think that it kind of reeks of this game has gotten out of our ability to control it. So we are just kind of just rolling with it. Like we're going to just release something stronger, make you play that, and then we'll make like some new staple, right? A Nibiru, a Dark Ruler, a Droplets, a Lightning Storm, and Evenly, whatever it takes that like kind of lets us Band-Aid fix it, where it's like, there's something strong here, but it's okay because like there's like something that is like your answer to it. But the answer to it is also obscenely strong in its own right and is really only counterable by the other strong thing. And like now you have these two strong things, but in the process, everything that came before them or everything in a lower tier than them is like completely suffering because, you know, Little Jimmy's Fun Deck can't really deal with Nibiru. Little Jimmy's Fun Deck can't deal with Evenly Matched. Little Jimmy's Fun Deck doesn't really like play nice with like all these other, so, and he can't play when a Rise Heart's out. So, I mean, he can't activate half of his cards because it banishes everything.
It's done.
So I don't like it, but I will try to take a positive look at it and say what you said. They got to release them so you keep buying and it keeps the game fun, exciting. Yay.
But unlike the MCU, I do think Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh will change at some point. This won't go on forever. It will change. I don't know how it will change and in what way. It could actually get worse, but it could get better. But no one knows when that's going to be.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, in 5 years I'll solve this. So, I mean, my last little bit that I'll add is because we know the shareholders have said some stuff about it, I think that we'll see some structural changes sooner than we might have otherwise seen them.
It'll be trickle-down changes.
Yeah, like it's Yu-Gi-Oh, so don't expect any changes anytime super soon. But maybe by like the end of next year, let's say, we might be beginning to see like some shifts in like product design and like card design. We might get something like weird alt
for
format.
Our 25th anniversary.
Yeah, when that lines up. So, I don't know. But that is my answer to the question.
And that means the pot of greed is winding down.
That's right. We've drawn our 2 cards each. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the 25th episode. It was a lot of fun. Some really good questions and some really cool stories.
Got some stuff off. I'm sure I'm going to hear about it in the comments.
A little bit of a Marvel rant. But hey, I'm here for it. I didn't think we'd talk about MCU. But if you guys like these sorts of stories, we can certainly chat a little bit more about just general geek culture.
And to be clear, we're not experts on much of anything.
Yeah, we're not experts. We're just sharing opinions. I would love to hear anybody's more informed insights on any of the stories we talked about, particularly the stuff around.
Or at least the legion of you who at least think you're more informed.
Yeah, or that. I mean, you know, like for people who do play Magic the Gathering, like I don't. So I don't know like what, say, that new play booster or whatever is like going to be like. So like, please inform me. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Then we'll see you guys in the next one. Pass
turn.
turn.